Red State Talk Radio. Talk radio the way the founding fathers would have done it.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Hey folks, Slickery Trigger here. I'd like to take a minute to tell you about Rebel Road Tactical. As a defensive pistol instructor, I've had the opportunity to observe many different holster designs and configurations. And one thing is clear. Many of my students won't carry a pistol. Or worse, they'll carry one without a holster at all. Holster designers aren't making holsters for normal people. It seems that most holsters are either an expensive piece of gear designed for Rambo or a piece that doesn't fit or function the way real people need it to fit and function. So, like any good Texan, I decided to learn to form kydex and design one myself, one that would fit the needs of average people. The result is the Rebel Road Tactical CRT Modular. The CRT stands for Carry, Range, and Training. Its thin and lightweight curved design minimizes printing and is adjustable to fit just right for superior comfort and function. Check us out after the show at rebelroadconcealed.blogspot.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
your weekend show, basically. This is the Rod Eccles Show. Had a little technical difficulty there with the sound. Sorry about that, but we are here still. It is Friday, August the 28th in the year of our Lord 2015, as we come to the end of our week. And it has been a super fast week, unbelievably fast. And this is, well, no, actually, this is not the last summer of the or last week of the summer this time around. Labor Day is what, September 8th or something like that. It's a little bit late this time of year, which is fine, I guess. So that means we really have another week left of summer. Yay, go summer. But this is the second to last week, I suppose. Traditionally, it's the last full week because Labor Day is usually a little bit earlier than what it seems to be, just simply because of how the date and the length of how August plays out this time across the weeks. And but anyway, this is a free-for-all Friday, by the way. Yes, because every Friday we do this. In other words, we talk about just about anything. We try to keep things a little bit lighter, on the lighter side, as we slide in to celebrate the weekend and celebrate our freedom, what freedom we may have left. So anybody that wants to call in can call in and talk about just about anything. The number here to do that is 603-835-3224. Obviously, you have to keep it clean, or you won't be on the air very long. And I got a fast button finger. I can push buttons pretty fast. I've learned, I've had people call, because we don't have a call screener here, obviously, and everybody knows that. That's nothing new. But I have learned in the past, taking calls in the past, since 2009, that sometimes you're going to get some people that think they're smart alecky and try to sneak in there with something that's pretty vulgar. And I've learned how to get rid of them very fast before they get their sentences off completely. And so it doesn't really work anymore. But because I have a fast finger. The fastest finger on the internet. Right here. Well, I don't know if I have the fastest finger on the internet. I don't even know how you measure that. In any case, I do have a full schedule here for you of wonderful things to discuss with you this evening. We can talk about, there was a story today. Well, it's not just today. It's a big story, actually, and it actually made national news. We had a kid here in New Hampshire, actually right out of Concord. Got to say it like New Englanders do. It's not Concord, it's Concord. Right here in Concord, New Hampshire. And he went to the, the St. Peter something. It's a private prep school. And I have driven past it many a times, and I've even been on campus a couple of times. It's a beautiful campus. It's one of those kind of prep schools where you send your kid to live. And it's not college. For those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Rio Linda, prep school is usually 8th grade and up or 7th grade and up. And in this particular case, I don't know, I think they go, I'm not sure what grades that they start at, but obviously it's high school, for sure. But prep schools can go as, in some places they can start 6th grade, and there may be places that start younger, but prep schools, usually the kid lives on campus, so the kid has to be old enough a little bit to be able to somewhat take care of themselves. And that would not be a first grader. So most prep schools are middle school and high school age. And this one is no different. And the story goes is that last year now he's 19. And the story goes last year when he was a senior in high school, just turning 18, that he got with a lowerclassman who was 15. Now, I got to tell you, this is where the whole notion of adult versus child, especially when it comes to sexual stuff, is a little. Those lines are very blurry. It's very difficult. But you're 18 and you're going to be charged as an adult, but you're still in high school, so you're really still a kid. So is 18 that magic number? Well, you got to have a number to start somewhere, an age where you have to start being responsible as an adult. I get that. But it's a little difficult to say, especially for some kids who may have been, held back a year during early. There are a lot of kids, that got held back a year, or because their birthday was so late in the year, they missed the cutoff birth date for kindergarten. So by the time they graduate, they're 18, possibly almost 19 years old, but they're still a high school kid because they still have that sort of mentality and maturity level. In that particular case, an 18-year-old is like a 17-year-old. And this kid is no different. He just turned 18. He's about to graduate, and it's they had some sort of senior, class type of thing where seniors try to have sex with lowerclassmen. And evidently, he got together with this 15-year-old, and evidently I didn't really follow the case very closely, but they were. This is also the problem I have with having so many laws. I mean, the kid was found not guilty of 2 of his charges, but then he had 4 or 5 other charges that he was found guilty of. So one particular act or incident, not over a long period, and according to the girl too, according to her testimony, I mean, it didn't last for hours and hours and days and up on days. It was a relatively short period of time. But how do you, if you have sex with somebody and you have sex with them one time, how does it create the ability to be charged for that one incident multiple times? Now, I'm not saying that I disagree with the verdicts on this, because again, I didn't really follow the case, and I didn't realize that it was going to make national news, and it did. The verdict came back on all of his charges today, and it was all over the news. It was everywhere. And I was a little surprised by that. But in any case, here's a 19-year-old kid now. Well, he's some of the charges, I think they do carry jail sentence, so the kid's going to jail, most likely. But it seems, well, according to him, what they did was they had heavy petting, evidently. There was no intercourse. And I'm thinking, well, if there's no intercourse, as we define it currently, how is that rape? Well, it's if there's no penetration. Exactly how? No, I'm not defending the kid, because again, I didn't follow the case, but I don't, because they often had it on the news here, morning news. They would give you little snippets, but I don't recall listening to the reports about the case, and the trial lasted for a couple of weeks or so. I don't now that the girl actually got on the stand for the prosecution, but I didn't hear her say that they actually had sexual intercourse. And then he got on the stand in his own defense and said that they didn't have sexual intercourse. So she didn't even mention, as far as I know, if they did or didn't have it, and he said that they didn't. So the probability is that the truth is that they didn't. So how is that rape? So this is my problem with prosecution and being able to charge people for multiple grievances without for one particular incident. I mean, let me put it to you this way, so you can try to understand this a little bit better, where I'm coming from. And this is just an example. This may not actually be, depending on the state that you're in, your laws may not apply. But let's just say, you're walking down the street. And somebody comes up and they get in your face. And they start screaming at you. And then you think that you're going to, probably get into some fisticuffs. So you punch the person. Well, that's assault. Okay, now you would think that would be the only thing that you're charged with. Well, because you threw one punch and you struck them. No, they would say, okay, that's assault, attempted assault and battery, to do bodily harm. Depending on if you knocked them out, maybe they try to get you with, attempted murder or attempted manslaughter, and then they'd get you for conspiracy of this. And by the time you're all done, that one punch will land you in court with 7 to 10 different charges. That's what I'm talking about. That is what happened to this kid. One particular incident. Now, I do understand that a couple of the charges had to do with him, I guess, speaking with her online, and so they threw that at him. Endangering the welfare of a child, and then there was a misdemeanor sexual assault charge, which then requires that he was found guilty of, which is going to require him to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. Now that's gonna. I know, and some people were already saying around here, well, he just gets what he deserves because he's some little rich little prick, thinks he's entitled to everything. Now I don't know the kid at all. Can't tell you if he's a nice kid, if he just got caught up if they just both got caught up in the moment and she got scared or what have you, or nervous and then just wanted to call it off, and then things got a little bit rough before he finally said, no, let's not do this. It's not worth it. We don't know. We don't know if he's a privileged kid. I don't know that. And even if he is privileged, just because you are privileged doesn't mean that you're automatically a little prick. Or if you're a girl, a little bitty. It doesn't mean that at all. There are a lot of children of wealthy people that are normal, nice kids. Yeah, most of them don't get into legal trouble either, but it's just amazing that we allow this type of thing to happen. And that we think, well, that's okay. Until it happens to someone that you know and love. And then you start scratching your head and thinking, well, how can that one little punch lead to 10 different charges? And I tell you exactly why they do that. It's not just simply because they can, but here's the real truth. When you find all of these charges piled on top of you like that, what it means is one of two things. Either the prosecution is trying to make a name for themselves or publicly and because they have political ambitions. And or they think that their case for a lot of different things is weak. And they want to make sure they get the win. So they will often toss tons of charges. And they also know that there's also, by putting on all these charges, that if you're going to negotiate and not go to trial, but negotiate to try to make a deal, that they'll be able to walk away with something fairly severe. Because if you got 10 charges on you for one incident, they can say, okay, well, if he pleads guilty to these 4, we'll let the other 6 go, but he's going to do some time and the prosecution wins. That's how it works. And frankly, that's how it's been designed. Now, that's not the way it's supposed to be in the American judicial system, but that is the way, with all these laws, it works and it has been designed. And that's not a good thing for a society. This is, people are often saying, well, we have more of our percentage of our citizens locked up than any other country in the world. And that is true. And everybody, you get some of these leftists that want to say, well, it's the industrial correctional, industry. Wants to lock it profits by locking up people. Well, you know, the big corrections, I guess. There may be a little bit of truth to that. But the bigger truth is that we have all these laws in the books that land people in jail that should not. And that when you do get into trouble, that you end up, instead of doing something that our founding fathers probably thought of, well, you know, you punch somebody, that's assault, and that's what you're going to be, charged with, and have to defend yourself in court. Not having to defend yourself from one punch from 10 different charges. Because frankly, the odds are you're going to lose on at least some of those charges. Look, I've served on jury. I've done my jury duty. I know what jurors think in that jury room. And I know that one of the factors that weighs heavily on many jurists' minds is the fact about how many charges a particular defendant is facing. And I happen to know that a lot of these jurists, because they're just normal human beings, and they think, well, my God, he's got all these charges. He can't be a nice person. That sort of thing weighs heavy in the jury room. Now, I'm telling you this is because I experienced it firsthand numerous times. And that's the way it's designed. Look, this whole notion that, you know, you deserve a fair trial, I'm going to tell you something. You know, after being a jurist, I want to tell you that the system, right, the way the system is and the way it's designed and the way our laws are now written and set up, I'm telling you, it is almost always in favor of the state prosecution. It really is. And the whole notion that, you know, well, you're supposed to be able to, you know, you're innocent until proven guilty, right? You're innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. It doesn't work that way. Not anymore. Not even with a lot of judges. If you're going to trial for a serious crime, even the judge, a lot of times, has this inclination to think that you're guilty of the charges against you. All you got to do is just sit in the courtroom and listen to how a judge rules and runs the court on a particular case. And, you know, although this is falling on deaf ears, you have a lot of defense attorneys around the country who complain about this type of thing. And it's also why sometimes it's very good if you have a defense attorney who was once a prosecutor, because they know exactly what's happening on the other side, because they once did it. That's why former prosecutors often make the best defense attorneys. Not because they have experience, but because they have inside knowledge of what goes on in the prosecutor's office, because they were once there doing it. Now, again, I didn't follow this case very closely, but I do know that this kid's life, at least the very start of it, has now been ruined. And yeah, if he's actually guilty, he deserves to be punished. I agree. I'm not saying that he shouldn't. In no way that sexual assault is fine. But when it comes to kids doing these stupid things, sometimes you just have to say what you have to. I know it's hard to figure out what happened, because there's usually only going to be two stories. You know, he said, she said, he said, she said type of thing. And Frank, you know, and there are a lot of people that still think, well, you know, kids don't lie about sex. Oh yeah, they do. They make up stories about it big time. And sometimes, you know, maybe the jury found some holes in the girl's story, which is why they didn't convict him. They acquitted him of the most serious charge of actual rape. We can't sit on the outside and second guess the jury because we weren't sitting in there. And me having sat on juries, multiple in the past, I know that you're not getting nowhere near the whole story in a news report. You have to be sitting in that courtroom every single day of the trial to understand and know the whole story before you can make a decision. But we like to make these snap decisions. Oh yeah, well, he's guilty. He's guilty. Well, no, you're not guilty. You're innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The weight is supposed to be on the state, the prosecution, to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you're guilty of the charges set before you. The weight should not be on you to clear your name and defend you, in order to defend you. You shouldn't have to prove your innocence. That's trying to prove a negative. Very difficult, nearly impossible to prove a negative. Again, our founding fathers understood this. And they put the weight and pressure of our jurisprudence system on the state, not the defendant. And even with that, people often still get kind of screwed. And that's sad. Sad in a nation where you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That so many people, so many defendants really get screwed. It is sad. Did this kid get screwed? I mean, well, literally by the judicial system? I don't know. I wasn't sitting in the courtroom. But I got to tell you, simply having some of the more serious charges dismissed against him kind of says maybe.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. Woo! There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
Join me on Free for All Friday. You know, just to put a cap on the last segment, just because, you know, you are a pampered, privileged prick doesn't mean that you're guilty of a crime. And being a pampered, privileged prick is also not a crime. So if you are a pampered, privileged prick, you have a right to be a pampered, privileged prick and should not be charged for crimes simply because you are a pampered, privileged prick. That's the way I look at the whole thing. That's the way everybody should look at it. You know, you can be however you want to be. If you want to be a nice person, you can choose to be a nice person. If you want to be a jerk, you can be a, jerk. Nobody's going to like you, but, that's up to you. But just because you're a jerk doesn't mean that you're a criminal. Again, I didn't follow the case, so I don't know exactly what the whole case, what the testimony was. I wasn't sitting in the courtroom, so I can't make a judgment. I just happen to know from sitting in the courtroom and sitting on a jury and understanding why multiple charges come against a person, and what happens when a jury, what the reasoning might be, from a jury, if they do not find you guilty of all the charges, but find you guilty of other charges that are similar. It's a racket, folks. It really is. And it's a racket on the side of the state. Not because they want to, they're in bed with the industrial, prison complex or industry, but simply because pretty much it's become, our judicial system has become very political. And prosecutors, they have to, they want to keep their jobs, or they want to move up, or they want to get elected as, senator or governor or something. They have other aspirations, and they're trying to make a name for themselves. That's a problem with having lawyers trying to get, maybe we should, it'll never happen, but maybe lawyers should not be hold political office, because they tend to screw things up. I'm just saying. No, I'm not bashing lawyers, because at one point in my life, back when I was young and stupid, I wanted to be one. Speaking of lawyers, Hilarious is out there. You know what? I'm thinking I'm just going to change her name. Because now it's, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Hillary? Well, a lot of people think it's liar or some derision of liar. Some variance of the word liar. So I'm going to change her nickname for me from hilarious to Hilary. Think of it, Hilary, because that's what everybody knows her as. She's a liar, deceitful, untrustworthy. Well, how do you get to be deceitful and untrustworthy? You lie. You don't tell the truth. And even many, which is really, this is really troubling, actually. You have many Democrats who think that she's a liar and untrustworthy, but they're so locked into this battle between Democrat and Republican that they'll support her anyway. And they'll try to justify it by saying, well, they all lie, politicians, they all lie, they're all deceitful. Well, that may be, but how many of them possibly have committed crimes and lied about them and are trying to become president? You really want somebody who do you really want somebody in that office? Probably the most powerful political office in the free world. And you want that person out there trying to negotiate with that? Well, yeah, Rod, because, all those other world leaders, they're liars too. Well, you don't have to be a liar in order to negotiate with a liar and understand a liar. You can still be an honest, genuinely honest person who's not deceitful to his own people. I mean, sure, go ahead and be deceitful to the enemy all you want. That's expected. But not to lie and be deceitful to your own people. And if your own people, a good number of them think that you're untrustworthy and a liar, well, those world leaders are gonna pick that up from the bat. Well, hey, this person's a liar, so they're not going to trust anything that she says in the first place. She's going to be a terrible negotiator because nobody's going to believe her. But yet still we have all these wonderful Democrats that are saying, she's better than anybody else on the Republican side. Really, how's that? Anybody on the Republican side really embroiled in any... Look, when President Richard Nixon was embroiled in Watergate, the American people, as well as both political parties, came down on him like a hammer, a sledgehammer. And then he was forced, basically, to resign. But now we're looking at this. If Nixon did what he did back then, Watergate today, it would not. It would still be kind of a big deal, major story. But I guess it would be just an also ran story because hey, it's just typical. It's how Washington runs. It's how Washington works. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. And part of the reason why I guess a lot of these Democrats are saying, well, yeah, they still are going to support Hillary, because who else do they have to support? It would be a disaster for the Democratic Party. Now, understand, Bernie Sanders can have all the support and have these large, wonderful crowds at his gatherings and events all he wants to. But understand this: the bulk of the American voting public is not really going to take too kindly to Bernie Sanders, an avowed socialist, being our president and starting to introduce more socialist ideas into our system, because most of us don't like the kind of socialism we have already. And the Democratic Party fully knows and understands this. And I hear from a number of different Democratic pundits that say the DNC is not going to allow Bernie to get the nomination. They're not going to allow it. And quite frankly, there are some that are saying that he can't get the nomination. And the reason is because Bernie Sanders is not a registered Democrat. He's a registered independent. And he's trying to run for the Democratic nomination. I don't think the Democratic Party is going to allow that. They're letting him run the way he's running now because, he's bringing out people to vote. He's getting a certain message across. And trust me, the DNC, they like just about everything that Bernie stands for. They really do. Look, they love Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren agrees with Bernie Sanders 150%. So the whole notion that some people, some pundits out there think that, Bernie's too far to the left for the Democratic Party. No, they're not. They love Elizabeth Warren. Hell, they're trying to groom her to run for president. They were trying to get her to do it this time. You got Joe Biden calling her up and having a meeting with her that they announced to the world. The whole notion that, Bernie Sanders is too far to the left for even the Democratic Party is a bunch of BS, because Elizabeth Warren, who fully supports Bernie Sanders, thinks exactly like Bernie Sanders and is probably a little bit more socialistic and leftist than Bernie is. And the Democratic Party absolutely loves Elizabeth Warren. They think she's the bee's knees. By the way, where did that saying come from? Bees don't have knees. Just because it rhymes? I don't know where that came from. Just kind of a weird saying, bee's knees. Well, Hillary is not the bee's knees right now. But you have to understand, who are they going to get? Biden? Now, look, understand, people like Biden, yes, I get it. They feel good around Biden because he's such a gaffe machine. But look, he was a gaffe machine when he was running for president against Barack Hussein Obama. That's not going to change. It is who Joe Biden is. Plain and simple. And, people say, well, he's trustworthy, he tells the truth. No, he's just as big a liar as anybody else out there. But he doesn't get himself embroiled by doing things that are not proper, like Hillary did with her own private server. Joe Biden doesn't do that kind of thing. But don't tell me that he's not an idiotic liberal, just like everybody else. And don't tell me that, now that he's going to be running for president, he's going to be a wonderful debater and he's not going to, put his foot in his mouth every other day. No. He did that back in 2007, 2008. He's going to do it again. He's done it all the time that he's been vice president. In fact, he did it so much that they sort of, Biden has kind of been absent this time around during Obama's second term. They've had him very quiet. We don't see as much of Joe as we did in the first term. And the reason is because he's an open mouth, insert foot every other day kind of guy. You give him the podium and the microphone, and he's going to do it all over again. So this notion that Biden, because he hasn't even gotten in the race and started talking, that his numbers are so high and his positives are so high, as soon as he gets out on the campaign trail, his numbers are going to plummet, just like they did in 07 and 08. And people are going to think, well, sure, I know that there are people out there that say, yeah, we'd love to see a debate between Trump and Biden. The one-liners and quips and jabs back and forth is going to be great. Well, that might be good for comedic entertainment. But when you're trying to choose a president, that's not what you want. You don't want you don't want a debate full of one-liners, quips, and jabs. You want some real substance. What do each of the candidates think about certain important issues that face the American people? Not who. Oh, he won the debate because he got in more jabs and more better jabs than the other candidate. I don't. That's redonkulous to even think about. So the point is, there's really only, if you really think about this from a logical standpoint, if you're trying to analyze this, who the Democrats are going to end up nominating from a logical standpoint, as long as she doesn't get indicted, And as long as this stuff really, really doesn't get, it could get worse. I'm very well aware this whole email gate. I mean, there could be some bombs waiting to drop. But barring that happening, if this hasn't pushed her, so far hasn't pushed her out, if the seriousness of what so far has transpired and come to light has not pushed her out, then she's not going to leave. And she will most likely be the Democratic nominee. Because, again, they're not going to allow Bernie. And Biden is not as strong a candidate as everybody likes to think that he is, because all you got to go do is go back to the when they were running the first time against Obama. And Biden didn't do so well. It's different now, Rod. He's vice president. No, he's still Biden. He is still Joe Biden. Not going to make any difference, really. So, look, if they think Hillary is, the Democratic Party thinks Hillary is really damaged goods like that and has no chance of winning the presidency, and they insert Biden instead, I welcome it, because whoever the Republican nominee is, if they're smart and tough and not afraid to go after him, they'll wipe, well, I guess if you get some of the more nice politicians like Jeb Bush, end up being like Romney and not go after him. So that is something that could happen. I know that I can hear some people now, they're like, cringing at the thought, Jeb Bush, ew, no. As if to say, don't say it, Rod, because if you say it too much, then it's going to make it a reality. Don't say it. Well, knowing what happens in politics, I can't discount it. You just can't. It could happen. Trump could lose steam and everybody else could lose steam, and all of a sudden here comes, low-key, trustworthy, name recognition Jeb Bush. Hey, speaking of Biden, I guess Joe Biden's son, his name has appeared on the Ashley Madison hacker dump. I haven't seen it, but I saw the headline. I didn't even read the story. Go in to read the story, but I do. Since we're talking about Biden a little bit, his son, I guess, his name was on the Ashley Madison list. That now, I'm assuming that his son is married, and he was looking to get a little nookie on the side, I suppose. But he claims that he didn't sign up for the site, and that the Russian agents signed him up for Ashley Madison. Now I'm thinking, why would they sign up Joe Biden's surviving son on Ashley Madison? It kind of sounds like a Ross Perot thing. Yeah. Black helicopters all over the place trying to ruin my daughter's wedding. I got to tell you, that's why I had to drop out, because I didn't know what they were going to do. And after I figured out who it was, and I knew it was government, I figured if I get in and win, I can stop this. And they wouldn't be able to do it again. Yeah, they had black helicopters, those silent ones running around trying to ruin my daughter's wedding. But so that's what it reminded me of when I'm looking at that headline. I'm like, what? Is this Ross Perot all over again? I mean, look, this political season has, I don't ever remember a political season having so much comedy from the politicians. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's been said and done already that makes you mad. And that happens every political season. So this is nothing new. But I don't think we've ever had the cast of characters that we've had, that we currently have. And more are popping in, and it's just really funny stuff. And mostly it's due to these people losing their minds because they're losing control, if you will, of the American thought process. They thought they had it in the bag. They thought that we were all tame and that we will all capitulate to Washington D.C.'s will, and that we just want to get along. This is the Rhino Republican mentality as well. And, we just want to be, stay at home and watch the Kardashians on TV. We don't want to be bothered with all this other stuff. And now they're finding out that's not the case, and the American public is rather pissed. And they're thinking, well, geez, how are we going to get control back? We once had control. How are we going to get control back? If they're running around being pissed and they're out there, supporting Donald Trump, that's not supposed to happen. So they're throwing all of these characters out at us in the hopes that one or two of them will catch fire and rein us, the American people, the electorate, back in. And the problem is that Donald Trump got in the race, disrupted everything, and isn't going away like they thought he was. No, look, we heard all the pundits way back, in the spring. Donald, he'll have his 15 minutes of political fame. He'll be gone before summer even starts. Donald Trump will be dropping out. He'll be gone. He'll be nothing. He'll be in the low. He'll be at the bottom of the pack. And it doesn't matter. Don't worry about Donald. He'll be gone. None of them were right about that. Donald is on top, and in many polls, especially in key states, that lead is increasing. And I love hearing these people. Well, he can't win the nomination. Donald Trump can't win when it comes right down to it. Are they looking at the same polls that we're looking at? No, you can have, 20, 30,000 people in an event. That they don't vote though. Those aren't. I heard that the other day. They were talking about Donald Trump's crowds and Bernie Sanders' crowds. And they were trying to say, well, just because, he gets 20 or 30,000 in an event, those aren't voters that go to those events. That's not what they said about Barack Obama when he was garnering the same number of people in the same big crowds when he was running for the first time. Look, they were saying, oh my goodness, look at all the love. Everybody loves Obama. Look at all these potential voters. Obama's just going to march right into the White House. They were saying that all those people that were attending Obama events, they were voters or potential voters. And if Obama was bringing out people that hadn't voted before or weren't interested in the voting process, and now he's bringing them out and they're going to end up voting for him. But all of a sudden this time around, when it's candidates that the lamestream media doesn't really want, now these same crowds, all of a sudden they're not voters. They're not going to vote. They're not even thinking about voting. This is what they're saying. And I'm scratching my head trying to figure out, trying to be logical. I know you can't, it'll drive you insane if you try to be logical with these illogical nut jobs. I get it, but that's my job. I'm here because I'm a professional. And I have trained myself very well that I know how not to go crazy by trying to think logically when trying to figure out these illogical morons. I can do that. You probably cannot. So I'm doing it for you to save your sanity. Because we don't want you to lose your sanity. Absolutely not. I want you to be normal and to be calm, cool, and collected so you can go into the voting booth and know who to vote for the right person, the most conservative person, and get them into the elected office that they're running for. That's why I'm here, so I can take that pressure and fear away from you. You don't have to worry about going nuts trying to figure them out. I will take on that pressure. Because I can handle it because I'm a self-trained professional. Just so you know. And I know somebody out there is going to think, listen to that arrogant SOB, man. He thinks he's just so great. Well, I do kind of tend to go a little bit nuts when I'm trying to figure out having a logical brain, trying to figure out these illogical nut jobs. It's very difficult to do. It is possible, but it's very difficult. And it does take a process. It really does. But I'm scratching my head trying to figure out how these nutjob media people can say, I know they've always done it. You know, when it's somebody that they want, they can take whatever that particular item is that they're talking about and boost it. And then somebody else comes along and does the same thing, but they don't like them. Then all of a sudden it's a big negative. So, you know, Barack Obama can have events where 30 or 40,000 people show up, and that just shows he's bringing out the voters. And that, you know, the vast majority of those people are voters. But when Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders does it, they're not voters. So those crowds really aren't that big. When you really just think about the voters, their crowds are not very big at all. But yet still Donald Trump keeps rising in the polls, even in liberal polls that are trying to bring him down. So you have to wonder, well, how is that possible then that he can't get the nomination? If everybody wants Donald and they're supporting him and they're going to end up voting for him, how does he not win? I got to tell you, unless there's going to be some hairy shenanigans going on behind the scenes on primary days and caucus days, he's at this particular point, he has to get it. Sure, there's a lot of time between now and then, and a lot can happen, but at this particular juncture, Donald cannot not get the GOP nod. And that scares the GOP, brass big time. He's got them shaking in their boots. Don't doubt me, folks.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
Red State Talk Radio. Talk radio the way the Founding Fathers would have done it.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Hey folks, Slickery Trigger here. I'd like to take a minute to tell you about Rebel Road Tactical. As a defensive pistol instructor, I've had the opportunity to observe many different holster designs and configurations. And one thing is clear. Many of my students won't carry a pistol. Or worse, they'll carry one without a holster at all. Holster designers aren't making holsters for normal people. It seems that most holsters are either an expensive piece of gear designed for Rambo or a piece that doesn't fit or function the way real people need it to fit and function. So, like any good Texan, I decided to learn to form kydex and design one myself, one that would fit the needs of average people. The result is the Rebel Road Tactical CRT Modular. The CRT stands for Carry, Range, and Training. Its thin and lightweight curved design minimizes printing and is adjustable to fit just right for superior comfort and function. Check us out after the show at rebelroadconcealed.blogspot.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
From my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. And I check every day, and I did check again today, and it has not changed. It is Friday, last day of the work week for many of us. So we get to slide on into the weekend. And because it is Friday, August the 28th, in the year of our Lord 2015, it means that this is free-for-all Friday, which means I tackle some of the more lighthearted subjects of the day instead of being so heavy. I mean, Monday through Thursday is the real hard, serious stuff. We try to get all that discussed, as well as, I even offer solutions often to a lot of these issues. But on Fridays, there's still a little bit of serious stuff thrown in there, but it's mostly, I try to be more lighthearted and lighter on the subject matter, so you feel better. You feel like you're going to be celebrating over the weekend, celebrating your freedom with friends and family and maybe coworkers if you're forced to go to a company event. But it is the weekend now. Really, for many people, after 6 or 7 p.m., it's the weekend, and so we're in it. And we're in the second hour now already, in the fastest 2 hours on Internet Talk Radio. The number that you can call to join and just to talk about just about anything on your mind is toll-free, 603-835-3224. That's 603-835-3224. And speaking of light-hearted, you may, guys, you're going to want to pay attention to this. In spite of what is all going on with the gender thing right now, if you have certain chromosomes that make you a male and certain chromosomes that make you a female, I'm not going to go to all this other stuff. So I'm not going to try to cover all, include everybody. Because I am including everybody when I say guys and gals. That's everybody. Well, no, you could be transgender. No, cisgender. No, you're a guy or you're a gal. Period. That covers everybody. Are we going to come up with a new term? What is that? You can't be bigoted or homophobic about everything. So if you do not agree with, all these other self-identifying sexuality terms, what does that make you? What is that word? I mean, because, would that make you a sexist still? I'm wondering, because if you don't want to call a transgendered whatever man a transgendered man, you just want to still call him a female or a woman, because that's what a transgendered man is, right? It's a woman turning into a guy. Does that make you a sexist? I mean, they're going to have to come out with a term that doesn't say that you're bigoted or homophobic, because it's overused and it doesn't work anymore. No, a lot of people are not. They're not. It's not like being called a racist. I know that's what they were trying to do. But if you say somebody's homophobic, and they're not, most of the time they'll laugh at you. So it doesn't have the same power as being called a racist does. And it's not going to. And with some people, if you say you're homophobic, they'll just respond very proudly, "I'm not homophobic. I'm just against the lifestyle." So it doesn't have the same power. They keep trying to use it and trying to use it and trying to use it, and it's been watered down, and it doesn't have the same force and effect that calling somebody a racist does. But you can't say that somebody's a racist against somebody who's a transgender unless the transgender happens to be a minority, I suppose. But then it doesn't work then either. So I'm guessing they're just going to have to call they're going to have to call me a sexist because I won't call a transgendered man a man. I'm still calling him a woman, and I still won't call Caitlyn Jenner Caitlyn because his name is Bruce. So I guess I'm a sexist on that one. But speaking of being a sexist, do you see how confusing that crap can be? Seriously, do you see how confusing? No wonder people don't know what to say or do. Because I'm not playing that game. I'm not going down that road. Because it's too damn confusing, and they keep changing it. Right? How many different orientations or self-identifiers do you have available on Facebook now? It went from like 3 to, 40 or something? I've never even heard of half those things. I still am not clear on what the term cisgender is. What is that, by the way? And there's other terms in there too. And now you have people who aren't physically attracted to either sex. They call themselves asexual. They're real people out there, but they're trying to be as vocal and the LGBTQ whatever. What is the difference between being gay or lesbian and being a queer? Why is there queer? I don't get that one either. Okay, I know what a lesbian is. I know what a gay man is. I know what a transgendered person is supposed to be. What is queer? I know what bisexual is. I know what asexual is, but I have no idea what the Q for queer is in that whole, because they keep adding letters. But in the first letter, that's LGBTQ, right? Yeah, there you go. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, a queer. I don't know. What is queer? That's a sexual identifier. Being queer. It's kind of like cisgender. What is that? And this is part of the reason why they're not getting very far with people who don't accept that lifestyle, because they're coming out with all these different separate types of self-identifiers. And these are from the people who say, well, I don't want a label put on me. And they keep coming up with new labels. Just saying. So I'm a little confused, as most of us are, about this whole LGBTQ, XYZ, WPDQ type of stuff. I don't know what it is. So I'm not going down that road. So it's still Bruce Jenner to me. Plain and simple. And if you had surgery to add certain parts or cut certain parts off your body, you're still a woman if you're born a woman. You're a man if you're born a man. I'm not playing the game. Sorry. Yeah, politically incorrect as far as you want to call it that, fine. I'm just trying to be logical and straightforward and tell the truth. And the truth is, Bruce is still a man. But anyway, getting to the sexist part, here's a story from the Daily Mail. Junk science takes a front seat yet again. And this is going to create all kinds of havoc in the office. People they're going to be, it's going to get to the point where people are going to be afraid to talk to each other. And here's the headline. Why asking a woman, well, how about a transgendered woman? Are they included in this? How about a cisgendered woman? Are they included in this, or is it just women? Is it just straight women? I don't know. I mean, do we get alternative women who are included in this too? Because all it says is why asking a woman, and I'll get to the rest of the story in just a second. But when they're mentioning when they say the word woman, aren't they being a little bit limiting? I mean, they're supposed to be all inclusive in this type of stuff, right? So I'm a little confused about this whole study, this research. I'm a little bit confused about who it includes. So I'm going to assume when they say woman, they mean everyone who was born as a woman or a girl, female. All right. Well, I'm probably sure, if you know the difference, call me and tell me. Because I'll admit when I don't know something. And I sure as hell don't know, because at this particular juncture, I'm confused as hell about what these people are considering to be a female. Just saying. Now, why asking a woman to make you coffee is bad for her health? Again, I'm going to ask, does this include Caitlyn Jenner? I mean, if Caitlyn worked in an office and somebody, a male, asked he, she, her, him, for a cup of coffee, would that be bad for his or her health now? I mean, it's not bad for the guy's health. For a male, evidently, according to the research, it's not bad for male health, but it's just bad for a woman's health. So I guess because Bruce is still a guy, it wouldn't be. Am I getting that right? Anyway. Why asking a woman to make you coffee is bad for her health? Covert sexism is just as stressful as sexual harassment. I kid you not. Now we're going covert with sexism. Oh, you dastardly, dreadful men, you. Now, you're not allowed to be overt in sex with sexism anymore. This is not Mad Men era of the 1960s. Oh, no. So now we've gone covert with our sexism. And one of those things is asking a female coworker to bring you a cup of coffee. The sexist comments are being ignored is damaging to a woman's health. I don't know. I saw the movie with Glenn Close and Michael Douglas back from the 80s. Remember that? What was his name? Dan? I'm not going to be ignored, Dan. And she proceeded to boil his daughter's rabbit alive. So no. Women if you ignore them, they can be dangerous. Well, according to the movie, anyway. But anyway, from this, the drip of sexism is just as damaging as harassment or sexual coercion. Drip? Now, this is written by one Madeline Davies, and she spells her name Madlen. Yeah, she's definitely mad. Mad is, two different versions of the meaning. One being upset, and two, mad meaning crazy. And it is equally harmful as common job stressors like too much work. Oh, so being overworked, or I guess asking a woman for a cup of coffee is the equivalent of being overworked. It's that kind of stress. Look, if you have they don't call them secretaries anymore. If you have a personal assistant that happens to be female, or no, what is it? The executive assistant. I'm sorry. Those terms keep changing on me too. If you have a secretary, personal assistant, executive assistant, and she happens to be female, and you happen to be her boss and happen to be male, don't ask her for a cup of coffee, because that's putting so much stress on her. It's the equivalent of you overworking her, putting too much work on her desk and expecting her to get it all done. Now, complacent managers should challenge low-intensity sexism. It's covert, now it's low-intensity. And here's how the story those are the subtitles, subheadings. Here's the actual start of the story. Look, I can't make this up, folks. From being wolf-whistled on the way to work to being asked to make the coffee, sexism can become irritating. Oh, can become? I thought it was automatically irritating, which is why we can't have it in the public or in private or anywhere. Covert forms of sexism in the workplace are just as damaging to women's health as more overt ones, new research suggests. Folks, if you're going to follow this junk science to the T, you're not going to be able to interact with anyone. What was that movie with Bruce Willis where where people didn't interact with people directly. I mean, they literally, they had these doppelganger robots that went out in society and did everything and interacted with everyone. Because, people were too afraid to go outside themselves for I didn't watch the whole movie. I thought the whole concept was rather dumb. But people didn't generally go out. They sent their robot doppelgangers out there instead to experience the world and experience. It was a dumb it was Bruce Willis. It was a Bruce Willis movie. Now the study showed this particular study that she's talking about. The study showed frequent sexist wisecracks, comments, and office cultures where women are ignored are just as damaging to a woman's well-being as unwanted sexual attention and sexual coercion. Now, the study comes from the University of Melbourne. And one of the authors, the co-author, Dr. Anna Gennett, G-E-N-A-T, said less intense forms of sexism should not be considered less damaging. So, Dr. Anna, I'm going to assume, is female. I probably shouldn't assume that, but you don't name Anna. The more frequent, less intense, and often unchallenged gender harassment, sexist discrimination, sexist organizational climate, and organizational tolerance for sexual harassment appear at least as detrimental for women's well-being as anything else. They should be considered lesser forms of sexism, however. So there we go with this covert, less intense sexism type of thing. So, guys, I'm just telling you right now, when you're interacting with a woman in your workplace, and you're a guy, evidently, no matter what you say to her, it is going to somehow be construed as low intense, or covert sexism. I don't really know how you work around that. Because if you don't talk to her, well, now you're ignoring her. And if you ignore her, well, that's a form of sexism, and that's damaging to her health. But if you talk to her, that is sexism, covert sexism, and is damaging to her health. So, guys, don't even go to work anymore. Just send the ladies out there. Because you can't win. We can't win at it. If you were to take this to its logical conclusion, what this study is saying, just about anything that a man will say to a woman in the workplace is the equivalent of her having too much work, being overworked. It is that stressful. And therefore, you should not talk to her. But if you don't talk to her, then you are ignoring her, and that has the exact same healthful or unhealthful effects. So you cannot win. I'm telling you right now, you cannot win. Because now this is a study from a respected Australian university. We're talking, University of Melbourne in Australia, land down under. For Australia, it's a good university, I'm assuming, right? So this is the kind of, maybe it's different down there in Australia. I don't know. I've never been to Australia. Would like to go someday. But this is the kind of stuff that is going to find its way over into the United States. And trust me when I tell you that they are already probably thinking about stuff like this. These sociologists and whatever other kind of scientists that have a PhD so they can be called doctors, they're already trying to figure out studies that they can do in order to get the same type of reaction or conclusion. So you're not going to... Hey, Mindy, can you get this report out for me? Oh, my good... Do you realize you're being sexist right now? That's how the door is being opened, right? This is what it's opening it up for. A male worker, maybe even a male boss, is going to go to a female coworker or a female subordinate and ask her to actually do something related to work, not even ask for coffee, but because he's a male, and he's going to be overburdening her with what? Oh, that's sexism right there. Covert. And that woman is going to go over to HR and say, this guy is sexist. And HR, which is usually made up of women, are going to come out and try to investigate and ask what he did and said. And the man's going to say, well, all I did was ask her to fax this report over to somebody. Oh, that's sexist. You need to go to sensitivity training. I'm telling you, this kind of stuff is already happening, folks. So there's no need to doubt me because it's already happening. And now they have some sort of junk science. Oh, they think it's legit. Junk science studies are starting to back them up on that. So, guys, I'm just warning you. So when you go back to work, and I know I probably shouldn't be burdening you with this on the weekend, but just so you know, when you go, because I'm not on the air on Sunday, so I can't warn you ahead of time. Just put it aside until Sunday evening so that when you wake up and go to work on Monday morning, you understand that no matter what you say to a female coworker, it is going to be construed as sexism. But if you don't talk to her, that's equally sexism. So you might as well not ask them to do anything, just talk to them about inane stuff. Nothing about work. Don't ask for a thing. Don't ask them to do any, even if, don't ask anything from your boss who's a female. Don't ask anything from a subordinate who's a female. Don't ask anything from a coworker, equal coworker who's a female. Just do it all. Do it all. But then again, but talk to them about junk, the Kardashians, whoever, whatever they like to talk about. Talk to them about that. But I can guarantee you, though, if you do that, then they're going to still think that's sexism because you don't think that you can talk to them about work. That's sexist too, right?
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
Welcome back. Sorry, just enjoying another one of those 24-5 cigars that I mentioned earlier this week. And you know what? When you let them sit in your humidor for a few days and even out, they the humidity evens out, and they get the proper moisture back, and they're really quite a nice little cigar. And anyway, here's this goes along with the previous story. This is but this is exactly why I'm confused. There is the University of Tennessee is telling its staff and students to stop using he and she when referring to other students, and switch to, I don't even know how you pronounce these, Z, Zer, and Zire, or Z, X-E, Zer, Z-I-R, or Zire or Xire, X-Y-R. Instead, I don't even know what that stuff means. I mean, I can where do they come up with this stuff? Look, this is a real university. University of Tennessee is literally gay. They literally sent out memos to the staff telling them that they're not supposed to use the words he and she anymore. Now, here's the rub. Gay rights officials at the Knoxville campus wrote the new language instructions. It tells students and staff to use unusual gender-neutral pronouns, like Z, XE. How is that? I don't even know what that is. Now, Donna Brackett, or Bracquet, Braquet, said that the new regime would make campus they say regime here. The new regime would make campus inclusive. He and she isn't already inclusive? Folks, I am at my limit. I didn't think I had a limit for this kind of stuff. But I got to tell you, I have to admit it, I am struggling here to try to understand this stuff and explain it to you. They are really taxing me right now. This is a tax Elrod day, I guess. I don't know, not monetarily from the IRS, but tax Elrod's brain day. This must be what Friday, August 28th is, because this is the most inane, ridiculous, stupid stuff I have ever heard come out of the left's mouth as it refers to genderism. Yeah, that is that's a word, by the way, genderism. I'm not making it up. University clarified that the guidelines are not compulsory after critics called them absurd. Absurd is the least of what that's probably, the most benign way to put it. Absurd. It's just an expletive idiocy. Now, they even put out. I'm going to post this. I'm going to post this on rodeccles.net. You have got to see this placard that they're distributing. It's telling you what new invented word to use to replace the existing one. And they even go through these gender binaries, he, she, her, him, hers, his, as I can't. I'm sorry. This is something a 5-year-old comes up with, and yet these people are actually teaching your kids. You're paying for this if you're sending your kids to the University of Tennessee. Now, the university, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm trying to, I'm very much a professional. But when I saw this, I cracked up before, just as I am now, because it is that ridiculous. The University of Tennessee has told its staff and students to stop calling each other he, she, him, and her, and start referring to one another with terms like XE and ZIR and XYR instead. Now, the Knoxville branch of the public university, which has 27,000 students, sent a memo this is how it was written. Sent a memo round to its members filled with unusual new parts of speech to avoid referring to anybody's gender. Now, according to a gay rights official at the university, there's a gay rights official at the university. The new language regime, I want to say that's not what they wrote, regimen. It's not regimen. The new language regime will make the university welcoming and inclusive and stop people feeling marginalized. Now, let me ask you a really, really inane question. If you are a female, or even a transgendered female, do you feel marginalized if somebody refers to you as she, her, or or hers? How is that marginalizing you? And if you're a male or a transgendered male, and somebody refers to you as he, him, or his, do you feel marginalized? No, unfortunately for you guys, there is no video here in the Bunker Eyes home studio. But as I'm asking you these questions, you know how a canine, a dog, will tilt its head when it doesn't understand something or it's questioning? Well, I'm doing that. Because it's that inane. It's that ridiculous. It's that stupid. By the way, I always thought, especially in the transgendered world, that they wanted to be called what they became. Here comes the confusion again. I thought that you were supposed to call a transgendered male a him, a he. And I thought that, hey, Bruce Jenner, we're not supposed to call him Bruce Jenner anymore because Bruce is Caitlyn and Caitlyn's a she. We're supposed to say her when talking about Caitlyn Jenner. And so now these same people who will try to correct me and say, no, you have to refer to Caitlyn as a her or a she. They're telling me I can't use that on the campus of the University of Tennessee, and I've got to use some stupid made-up thing that's a ZI or ZE or ZIR or XYZ. I don't know what the hell that is. And they've got words, these new words to replace the terms they, them, and their. And even for terms as it looks, you gotta look I can't pronounce this stuff, but it's redunculous, folks. I mean, instead of saying there, what is ZIRS? Zers? How is theirs is their THEIR, according to these people, is a marginalizing word? You know what? I got to move on to another story because this isn't taxing me anymore. I got it. This is just absolutely ridiculousness. Now, there's something that's called liberalism, and that any logical brain can, if they put time and effort in it, can figure it out. But when you get to the point where something is absolutely inanely ridiculous, that you have to use the word redonkulous, there's no figuring it out because it's just that bad. Nobody in their right, not even an insane person in an insane asylum would come up with this garbage. But this is the kind of stuff that's being taught to your child on a college campus somewhere. And you wonder why your kid comes home a little screwed up. And you wonder, well, my kid got this degree and he can't find a job. Well, because employers know that these degrees are worthless. Because kids are coming out being taught this kind of stuff. Wait a minute. So I guess when you're referring to me, when you say he, well, why don't we just get rid of names? Because most names are masculine or feminine, and there are some names that are unisexual, I guess, unisex. Like Tracy. That's it. Everybody has to have a gender neutral name. Like Aaron or Tracy. I've even known some guys who weren't Asian named Kim. I don't know why, but I guess Kim is a gender neutral name. So we should all change our names to gender neutral names, or we're just going to have to start making current names more gender neutral. So when you have a child and you have a daughter, be sure to name your daughter Bob. Not Bobby with an IE, Bob. Not Roberta. Well, Robert. let's make, Stephen. Well, why not? Because, there are girls named Michael. So you can do it. There are girls named Michael, so you can, which is normally a masculine, male name, but they're spelled like Michael and pronounced like Michael, not Michelle. It's Michael. So remember the actress Michael Learned? I think she was on the Waltons, right? Yeah. But so just turn any name. If you got a girl's name, you got a girl's name picked out that you want for your baby, and you think you're going to have a girl and you end up with a boy, give the boy the girl's name. It's going to be, gender neutral now. Yeah, everything's going to be gender. If you don't, then you got to use a gender neutral name. You're not going to be, otherwise you're going to be forced, they're going to be forced to call him or her Z. Just saying. Hillary Clinton has been revealed to have over a million fake Twitter followers. More than any other presidential hopeful. Wow. We knew that she had, because that came out a little while ago, that supposedly she had like 2 million followers, but 1 million of them were fake. Donald Trump, by the way, also has more than 1 million fake followers, but a higher percentage of real followers on the social media platform. About half of Joe Biden's followers are fake. Among those running for president, however, Bernie Sanders has the highest percentage of real followers at 92%. I kid you not, 92% of people of Bernie Sanders. It's not telling us the numbers in this story, but not 92%. I do the same thing. Bernie Sanders probably does this. He probably makes sure that he does not get fake followers, and he keeps weeding them out. I do the same thing with mine. I have over 9,000 followers, and I can honestly say that the vast majority of them, probably in the 90 percentile range, are real, because I weed out those who are not real or who do not appear to be. Look, you can force people not to follow you. There's software out there that'll do that for you if you have it, and it's easy to do. If somebody, they've been on there, for 5 years and they've never made a post, well, that's most likely not a real follower. Or if somebody's been on there and they haven't posted or tweeted in a year, well, they're not a real person. Now, fake followers are a mix of inactive Twitter users, completely fake users that are created for the sole purpose of following people, and spam bots. And I happen to know this. Which is why when you're trying to follow some people, they have this verification process that you have to go through. We only accept real people, so please, click this and that type of thing. And I don't have that attached to my account because that's a pain in the butt, actually. But people are getting tired of having these fake people and these spam bots do this to them. Just to, because somebody goes to Fiverr or some other platform and they see, I can get you 10,000 followers in 72 hours for $5 or $10, whatever it is. Well, that's how they're doing it. And to a degree, from a marketing perspective, that's actually kind of useful because if you're a single person, individual person when it comes to Twitter, here's a little bit of Twitter information. If you're an individual person and you sign up for Twitter and you get a Twitter account, you can follow people and get people to follow you because you're an individual and you most likely go to people who you know first who will then follow you back. But if you're an organization or if you're a group or if you're a new company or something like that and you just get a new Twitter account, it really is very difficult to get people to follow you when you don't have any followers. So the notion that if somebody looks at, when you look to, because the whole thing is that, when you want to grow your Twitter following, at first is you follow a bunch of people and those bunches of people that are, your target market or area, those people will then a good number of them will follow you back. But if nobody's already following you, they're more likely not going to reciprocate and follow you back. But if you go ahead and do this fake Twitter follower thing, because nobody knows, how many followers are real and how many are fake on any given account. But if you buy 50,000 fake Twitter followers and then you start trying to follow real people and expect them to follow you back, they'll go to your page and say, "Oh, they've already got 50,000 followers. Well, I'm going to get in on that. I'm going to follow them." And then, later on, what you're supposed to do is dump the fake followers. Not keep, because you don't need them anymore. But evidently, some people like, Clinton and Trump and a few of the other politicals, they don't understand how this really works. Or maybe they do, and they're just trying to inflate their numbers. Especially with, Hillary. We know that what she was doing to begin with. That story came out on her back in the earlier part of the summer about all her fake Twitter followers. However, Clinton and Trump still have far more followers than anyone else running for president. They still have far more real followers than anyone else running for president. But look, you got to. Joe Biden is so good, but half of his Twitter followers are fake. I mean, nobody wants to follow him. So, you got to ask, well, why not? Why don't they want to follow the Joe? And is Joe Joe's a gender neutral name? Remember, I know somebody's probably thinking, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. I guess it just depends on how you spell it. Remember Joe from The Facts of Life? Now, didn't she grow up to be a lesbian? By the way, I don't. Yeah. No, is that McKeon? Was that Nancy McKeon? That was, I don't remember who played Joe, the name of the actress, but the child actress. But it wasn't Joe, didn't it? I'm just asking the question. You try to remember some of this inane stuff, and sometimes your brain doesn't want to filter it and send it to you, but I think Joe turned out to be a lesbian, either on the TV show when they had a reunion or in real life. Joe was, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But Joe is a gender-neutral name. Just giving you some ideas, so you can be compliant with the University of Tennessee. But Hillary, Biden has half of his followers are fake. Hillary has has over 1 million. But here's the real number of followers for Hillary is she only stands at 66%. Donald Trump has a higher percentage at 69%. So Donald Trump evidently has more total followers as well as more real followers than Hillary. Are people starting? Speaking of Twitter. At Rod Eccles is my acronym on Twitter. You should follow me over there and be a real person. Because if you're a bot, or if you have a bot and you try to send me a request, sure, it'll be, it won't be reciprocated. Trust me, it just won't. I will know. Bots don't work. I won't be following you back. I won't attempt to follow you back. And within a week or two, you will be forced to unfollow, so you won't even hang around very long. If you try to fake follow me, it won't work. So you gotta be real. You gotta be a real peeps. You know what I'm saying? Real peeps here. Only real peeps. Because we don't have no time to have no fake peeps. You gotta have real peeps. The GOP, the elitists, the blue bloods, the rhinos, they're struggling to comprehend Trump's appeal to the base, the very base that those very rhinos really hate and dislike. And if you don't believe that the rhinos hate the base, have you heard Joe Bonnier over the past couple of years about the Republican base? Oh, you guys are too conservative. Or you're moving everything too far to the right. We can't go too far to the right like that. We have to be more inclusive and more, willing to bend. And even if we bend to break, we got to be We got to be Democrat light, and if we're not Democrat light, then I'm just going to cry. Well, it's the truth. They're because these are the same people that they told us. It's not what they thought that we, that we're trying to say that isn't. We're trying to figure out, what they're saying. They actually told us in no uncertain terms that they really truly thought that, hey, don't worry about Trump. He'll be gone soon. He'll be gone. He's not going to be around. The American people aren't going to accept him or like him or follow him or support him. And boy, were they wrong. Because they don't pay attention. They didn't pay attention in 2010 when we gave them all that power. They didn't pay attention again in 2014 when we gave them even more power. They don't pay attention because they have their own agenda, and it's just, hey, American people, screw you. It's what we say that is what we're going to do. That's what counts. Not what you want, what we want. And the American people are saying, well, no, we don't want what you want. You're supposed to work for us, not the other way around. And that's why so many people support Donald Trump, because he is upsetting the apple cart. They can't figure it out. They seemingly can't figure out the American people. They can't figure out Donald Trump. When the truth is, it's very easy to figure out. All they have to do in order to keep their jobs is just do what the American people want them to do and elected them to do. That's all there is to it. They don't have to do anything else. Seriously, they don't. Well, folks, that sound means we're out of time for tonight and for the week. We'll be back here on Monday. So be here too. I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. Until then, have a great weekend. I'm out.
Uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Good God.